Empire. Flipping the script on third-party ticket operators.
Everybody who works in this industry is passionate about what they do. They care, they're truly committed, and they want to over-deliver on the promises they make. And due to all of that, I think they were curious, right? They were curious to see what we have to offer. They listened, and over time, they started to buy. They started to refer to their friends. That's
Simon Hennes, CEO and co-founder of Vivenu, who is helping teams and leagues control their ticketing destinies. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. How the ticketing industry got to a place where monopolization is being weighed by the Department of Justice is quite a historic tale in the sports and entertainment industry. Vivenu isn't here to rectify that issue, but to modernize it and help teams reclaim their inventory and data. Our guest this week is Simon Hennes. He's the CEO and the co-founder of Vivenu, which is a flexible and advanced ticketing platform where you could white label the service. Simon, great to meet you. Thanks for joining us all the way from Germany today.
Hi, Bram. Very nice meeting you.
Tell me about Vivenu, the company. What is the genesis and what do you all do?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we're an independent ticketing company, so we white label our software so our companies or organizers can take the center stage. They can get their brand out, all on their data. We have a flexible API on which organizers can either integrate other tools or build on top. And over the past few years, after 2 years of bootstrapping the company and then raising venture capital funds, we now serve more than 700 organizers globally, ranging from sports organizations such as Stanford over award shows such as the Grammy Awards, but then also regular concerts, festivals all around the globe. We have customers in more than 40 countries and love doing what we do on a daily basis.
How did it start? What got you into this field?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, it started back in 2018, all of us having absolutely no clue about this industry. We're not from ticketing. We're not from the entertainment space. We're not from the sports space. But what we did is we analyzed the challenges the industry has very carefully. We listened to customers. And what we learned is there's no tech-savvy platforms out there right now. There's amazing companies doing ticketing. Obviously, everybody knows the Ticketmasters around this globe. But there's no real B2B white label tech-first providers that provide all the control to organizers. And I was traveling to Malaysia, met the CEO of a local company who did ticketing for larger venues and live entertainment companies at that part of the globe. Got intrigued by it, got intrigued by the challenges of organizers, by the lack of automatizations, by all the manual workflows that people needed to undergo, by the lack of data insights that they had, by the lack of tech savviness on the tool side. So yeah, we went into it, bootstrapped the company. So we had 2K on the bank account. We're working out of an office of 10 square meters in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Germany. 3 founders, one of which included me, my fellow co-founders Simon and Jens, 1 business guy and one technical co-founder. And very naively just picked up the phone and called up organizers at the morning, performing arts centers, over lunch, festivals, and then in the evening sports organizations. Next day, same thing, but in another country, and so on and so forth. So learned so much about all the pain points and use cases, and then built a very flexible, abstract solution on top of all the use cases we heard. And yeah, did this for 2 years. And then started to raise venture capital to finally become serious as a company. So
without you and your co-founders not having the background in this industry, why did you get interested in it? What brought you to ticketing?
So it's essentially the lack of tech savviness in the industry that got us intrigued. I mean, if you look at e-commerce, if you look at the leisure space, if you look at the travel industry, if you look at flight operators, nowadays consumers, so ticket buyers, can buy their tickets on various platforms. It's an extremely flexible and good user journey. Data is shared to the airlines, it's shared to the operators, and so on and so forth. But the same doesn't apply, unfortunately, to the live entertainment and sports industry, where essentially the venues, the clubs, the franchise, the events, operating the events, taking all on the risk, are not able to retrieve full access to the data or customize the user journeys in such a flexible way that they want to. So honestly, it was the challenge that intrigued us, the challenge of modernizing ticketing, the challenge of introducing modern technology into the space. And again, we just became aware of it due to a travel of mine to Malaysia, which happened in 2018 when I met the CEO of a local company there.
So when you started the journey and you started calling places about what you're thinking about and what you want to build and what you want to do, what was the reaction in the marketplace to what you were telling them?
I mean, I think we probably faced the same reaction as any other startup in any other industry. So many people called us mad. So many people called us naive. So many people called us that we have no clue and don't know what we do. And to be honest, they were spot on, right? When we started, we had no clue, and we were probably a little bit mad. But I think very quickly organizers realized that they actually, in fact, have serious problems, that they lack data insights, that they lack customizability options. So I think the overall feedback was extremely positive. Everybody got intrigued and wanted to see what we have to offer. At the beginning, the platform that we built was obviously limited in features and capabilities, but we always relied on a very scalable core system, and then over the time build it out. So I would say the industry was extremely positive about our offerings. And what you can clearly see both in sports, but also live entertainment or in the venue space, is everybody who works in this industry is passionate about what they do. They care, they're truly committed, and they want to over deliver on the promises they make. And due to all of that, I think they were curious, right? They were curious to see what we have to offer. They listened, and over time they started to buy. They started to refer to their friends. So yes, at the beginning, obviously, it was a steep learning curve for us, and it was a tough fight to begin with. But after a few months and obviously years, we got the acceptance of the industry, and it's one of the kindest and most supportive industries you can probably find out there, and definitely the most passionate one. So as people care about what they do and what they have to offer, they always look out for the best solutions in the market.
Okay. You had mentioned Ticketmaster. There's other behemoths in the marketplace that deal in volume and currently, and I'll ask you about legislation and lawsuits in a moment, but as you kind of entered this space, how do you look at these kind of dominant players that are in the ticketing marketplace?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, there's actually three categories of providers. One is B2C providers, Ticketmaster, Eventum, Access, and so on and so forth. The other one is verticalized niche players, so players that are focused on one niche, one vertical of the market. For example, Pacquiao in the college space, or Audience View more nowadays in the performing arts space, and other providers for other verticals, sometimes even regional providers, right? Providers that only operate in one particular region, in one particular vertical. And last but not least, self-service providers for less sophisticated customers out there that just want to get an event up and running, probably sell around 40, 50 tickets each. And those are obviously the Eventbrite, Ticket Spices of this world. And I think what's currently missing is essentially an enterprise-grade solution that offers full white label capabilities and is as flexible that it can accommodate different use cases and actually tailor around the specific needs of the event organizers. Right? Even if you look in one vertical, let's say sports, there might be some sports franchises out there that are sold out. You don't need to tell them how to reach more customers. There might be sports organizers who are not sold out. So that's a whole different situation, it's a whole different scenario. And there's different business, different technology needs that come out of it. And we, with our solution, try to accommodate those as much as we can So it's not always the same platform. It has obviously the same dashboard and the same look and feel in some of the backend components, but from a front end perspective, what the ticket buyers can see, the organizers can customize it in the way they like. It's not only white label, but also the checkout flows can be different. The way you use data can be different. The integrations that you use can be different. And right now, this is, in our opinion, lacking in the market field. So you have the B2C providers, somebody else takes the data, and it's always the same user journey. You have the verticalized niche players, usually very old, outdated technology, not so flexible. And then obviously the self-service providers for the lower end of the market field, which are great tools, very nice UI UX, but not really made for, let's say more customization needs and more advanced tools that enterprise organizers need out there. So we try to introduce white label ticketing for enterprise customers that can be tailored to your specific needs, whatever they might be. Right? Sometimes it's upselling, sometimes it's using data, sometimes it's integrating into something else within your digital ecosystem, sometimes it's bundling tickets with other options such as hotel booking and so on and so forth. So the use cases can differ, and we try to tailor around those.
Future Sport is a presentation of Empire Media, a B2B and B2C podcast and digital company dedicated to making your business or brand be heard. Internal or external content creation that will have a lasting impact on your strategy. Consulting, creation, and production, all to help you effectively communicate your message in any marketplace. Learn more at empiremedia.com, AMPIRE media.com. Could you give me a couple examples for the customer experience of customization that you're working with your clients? Listen, I buy tickets and all sorts of things, and I agree that it's not modern, especially when you use the technology that's there. And there are plenty of things that fans can complain about with the user experience, specifically in the cost and fees and all of those things and the experience of checking out. But could you, like, in the end, though, I'm going in to buy a ticket. Could you kind of explain to me how this is different and how a brand or a league or a team or a venue could customize to make the user experience better?
Yeah. So great question. And look, you're looking at the whole industry more from a ticket buyer perspective than an organizer perspective, which I fully appreciate. As a ticket buyer, I think to me it's absolutely ridiculous. You're a fan of something, right? This might be a musician, this might be a sports franchise, this might be a theater, but you're a fan, you're loyal, you care about this brand, you want to support this brand. Now you go to the website, you check out the next times they play, for example, and then you want to buy tickets. Now, out of the sudden, this whole user journey of yours changes, right? You're getting redirected to a different domain. On this different domain, you need to browse again, find the event again. Then finally, you can select your tickets. Now you need to create an account with the ticketing provider, not with the organizer, but the ticketing provider. After creating your account, you get the upsells that the ticket provider wants you to buy. Not the ones that the organizer promotes, not the sponsors of the organizer, but what the ticket provider wants you to buy. Then once you confirmed your booking and you purchase your tickets, you get an email. This email is not coming from the organizer, it's coming from the ticketing provider. And then they try to upsell and cross-sell you into different content that they support, not from the organizer, but maybe from other organizers. And this data that you provided to the ticketing provider is then used for their courses, right? Retargeting, having you in their CRM and so on and so forth. With Vivenu, you might actually be a customer of ours already, but you don't know, right? The whole user journey happens on the organizer side. Sometimes there's also redirect, but even that is fully branded. It's on the custom domain of the organizer. It's in a different checkout experience than you might know it from another organizer that uses Vivenu, accustomed to the specifics that this particular organizer wants you to have. You might be able to buy merchandise of the organizer directly. You might be able to, upgrade according to the rules of that the organizer imposes. The email you receive is not coming from the ticketing provider, it's coming from the organizer directly, fully enabled and powered through our tools. So You might actually be a Vivenu customer already. You simply don't know. And that's kind of the beauty. And that's the beauty for the event organizer as well. They can determine how everything looks, feels, what they want to sell, where they want to sell it, how they use the data, how they control the prices, what strategies they want to apply for the secondary market. If not, they want to do dynamic pricing. If they want to use different channels to sell tickets as well to tourists, for example, via Get Your Guide. Whatever it might be, they're in the full control and they get closer to you. And you as a fan, I mean, you want to buy from the organizer. You don't mind, as you said, who's the ticketing provider, if it's Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, or whatnot.
Yeah.
You care about the experience and you care about the sports organization or whatever event it is that you're cheering for. So you also want to support them, provide your data to them, you trust them, and that's why you should buy from them directly instead of somebody else that kind of takes away the show. Technically, we still all do that, right? So the event organizers with Vivenu, they don't need to take on any risk, or they don't host the infrastructure or whatever. We still provide them with the white label shops, and everything is still happening technically in our infrastructure and logic. So there's no risk for them from a technological perspective, but it always feels for you as a fan that you're buying with them directly. Similar to Shopify versus Amazon, if you want to take this analogy from the e-commerce space.
You know, what's really interesting about it is and this feels like just kind of a broad question about the whole industry as a whole, but you would think from the get-go that any of these organizations would want control of who their customers are, and those customers tell them who they are by buying the tickets. And yet somehow this industry ended up handing that service over to a couple of behemoth providers, and now they're trying to claw it back, and they're finding it was hard to do so. Is that a fair kind of way of looking at broadly what has happened in the ticketing marketplace?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, look, there were reasons why somebody else sold tickets and you as an organizer kind of stayed in the background. Financial reasons, sometimes marketing reasons, sometimes just lack of capabilities reasons, right? At the beginning, obviously, not every organizer could use a white label tool such as Vivenu, right? Back then just didn't exist. So Ticketmaster could take on the service of selling those tickets. Then at some point, this industry became a little bit of a marketing industry, right? Where you needed third parties to explore and browse events. This is not the case anymore. There's direct communication between the club and you as a fan, for example. And then this industry became a finance industry where some of the organizers relied on advancements of ticketing providers. Now, I'm not saying that for all organizers in the market field, none of those dimensions might hold true anymore. Some organizers might need to refer back to the marketing piece or the financial piece or whatever. But for the organizers that care about their brands, that care about their data, that care about their ticket buyers and direct communication with their ticket buyers, I do believe that there's a big shift and big trend towards more independent and more white label ticketing options. And then from a tech perspective, some organizers do care about a digital ecosystem, about APIs, about technological leadership, and that's usually the ones that also pick Vivenu. I mean, there's a reason why Stanford is a client of ours, a tech-savvy university, or the Grammys that have very kind of flexible, that have needs that require very flexible solutions. So I think, the overall industry trend is going in that direction. Not for everyone, but we also need to win everyone as a customer.
I did mention Ticketmaster earlier, and I do want you to weigh in on this. I'm sure you are following what's happening in the United States with the Department of Justice looking into monopolies, or what they believe are monopolies, in Ticketmaster and Live Nation. What's your general reaction to what's happening broadly here in the United States with looking at the industry as a whole?
For sure. I mean, honestly, this situation should have never happened. I think everybody can agree to that. It did happen though, and it changed the industry, not in a positive way. Fans are obviously upset for the right reasons. I do believe though, a monopoly can only stop market entrance for a certain time. There's lots of organizers out there that can still make decisions independent, who don't fear the position of power that Ticketmaster and Live Nation are in. And that's where we pick up business. And then once fans realize that situations can be better, that artists can distribute tickets in a fairer way to better prices, and that the revenues can potentially always land in the right pockets. The data can always land with the people who should own the data. I think then there will also be a market shift towards more independent ticketing in that sense, regardless of the DOJ's decision on a potential split up of those two companies. So I do believe I do have faith in the market place doing the right thing, customers and ticket buyers alike doing the right thing. So yes, it shouldn't have happened, but in the end it did, and we need to live with the situation. So yeah, I do believe that regardless of the DOJ's decision, independent ticketing is and will still be on the rise in the future.
Simon Hennes is the CEO and the co-founder of Vivenu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein.